A fortnight ago, while doing the live, as it's our custom every Friday from 9 p.m., a lady friend of the series asked me what my thoughts were about dealing with a disrespectful spouse. And it made for a very interesting conversation. Are you a disrespectful spouse to your significant other? All right? Have you dated or been married to somebody who are disrespectful to you? And how did you deal with it? How? How did you deal with it? I want us to have a quick chat about that. When people get very comfortable many times and disrespect becomes very rampant in a relationship because later on it hurts the person who's being disrespected. And a little later on, it starts hurting the relationship. And if we are to speak about disrespect, it's many things to many people. Some people would find it disrespectful if a man or woman was shunning the responsibilities of running the home, for instance, financial responsibilities. Other people would not take it kindly if you are poking jokes at them and they would find it disrespectful. Other people would find being denied sex disrespectful. If you're being very secretive about your personal acquisition of this or that, or even money, other couples would find that very disrespectful. So, whatever it is that is disrespectful to you, how is it that you deal with it? My name is Eric. This is Eric Stories, and tonight I want us to have a quick chat about that. I invite you again, if you're new here, to acquaint yourself with my social media handles. I am on Twitter, I'm also on Instagram, and I am on YouTube. Please, if you haven't already, subscribe or follow and just check out some of the conversations we've had. From a lot of testimonials, they say they're not only intriguing, oftentimes thought provoking, and worthy of your while. All right? Also, I appreciate your mind about these conversations. I'm not one to speak at you, I prefer instead to speak with you. So share with me your mind about these and even previous conversations on the comment section or in my DM. It's open just for you. Yes, so disrespect. How do you deal with it? That's what I want us to have a chat about. I have 3 ideas. I'll get out of your way. Tomorrow you can come and join me at 9 p.m. On the live, as it's our custom every Friday. We have lengthier conversations then, so you can ask a question, share your comment and your mind. I love to hear and learn from you as well. So dealing with a disrespectful spouse, first things first, I think it's important to understand that just because he or she says mean things to you doesn't mean that the things they are saying about you are right. It's very important to distinguish the difference between the people we are closest to and the things they're saying about us. All right? So you want to take some time to practice telling yourself who you truly are. You are not who the person you're dating makes you out to be or makes you feel. It is true. You know why? Just because somebody you've sleeping or you've slept with says you're stupid, that doesn't make you stupid. Maybe they're stupid or they're feeling angry and they're just trying to insult you, right? Don't believe everything somebody you're dating says. No, you are who you are. And it helps then that you introspect about who you are so that somebody does not inform your personhood. Know thyself. Do they make you feel like you'd be lost without them? No, you wouldn't be. No, you wouldn't be. You met them when you were 27. You're now 35. You are not lost for 27 years. They're lying. Does he make you feel ugly? All right? That's not up for him to decide. Your beauty standards are your own. You're as beautiful as you want to be, as gorgeous as you want to be. So you don't want to hand over that power for somebody else to decide for you. All right? There are things we need to be able to grasp by ourselves first. Because our partners cannot sometimes affirm or reaffirm us. Have you ever met somebody who was turning and you're telling them you're gorgeous or you have a beautiful mind and they wouldn't believe it? They wouldn't believe it. They're just like, you're lying to me. You're lying to me. They're like, no, I am not lying to you. You're literally the only person I've met who's as beautiful as I think you are. But they wouldn't accept it. So the problem then doesn't become your partner. It is you. You have a dwarf sense of self. So grasp that you're gorgeous. Grasp that you're intelligent so that if anybody tries to bring you down to the level that you're not, you simply say, that's not who I am, and then you move on. So that's how I would look at it. The first thing, rather, that's the first thing I would look to do. Really interrogating and practicing telling myself that I'm not who my spouse says that I am. I am not who you say that I am, Gabriel. I am who I decide to be. All right? Second thing I think is very important about dealing with a spouse who's disrespectful towards you is have a safe, wise friend. When we are constantly being fed with disrespect, it can be easy to forget what normal feels like. You know, abnormality becomes normal. So I think it then requires that you have somebody who has a different perspective of you, at least one who shares the perspective you hold of yourself. Because if you're in that zone of darkness and every time you hear you're ugly or you're stupid or you're mean and so many of these negativity, then you want to look for someone outside of that toxicity to reaffirm you. And a friend, a good friend, would be adequate for such a feat. All right? If your spouse is constantly putting you down, you need somebody else. You need another ear and another eye and another mouth. And you want to be careful in choosing these friends so that they are not one who is going to talk you out of the relationship and turn you away from the relationship. They can just point you out to the amazing person they truly, truly know you to be. And if you have some malevolence that are glaring, they would be decent enough to say, in this area, I think you are at fault. That is another way. So that you don't define yourself from the prism of the person you're married to or the person you're dating. What do you feel about that? I think that can help. Friends are the family you've chosen, right? So, yeah, that would help in my mind. I have friends of mine. One time, my friend was telling me, oh, you can totally do that. Eric, that's easy peasy on you. And when he said that, while I believed it before he said it, it reaffirmed me. So I think it helps a great deal to have friends like that. Friends who want to see you win in the relationship or even in the marriage. But you have to pick them, as my mother would say, with a toothpick and not a fork. They are far in between. All right? And then the third thing I think is equally important is the idea to be slow to speak. While we can't control the words from our partner, we can't really. I could say anything here, you've got no control over that. And in the same measure, if we were dating, I can decide to be belligerent and abusive. You can't control that. But you can control what you say back to me. So while it's a human nature to quickly be given to retaliation, with a double portion of what has been given to you, it helps a great deal to understand that you have the power to control what you say, and many times you can choose not to say anything at all. All right? So even if you feel like lashing out and retaliating, imagine you have the power, you can control yourself and not to do it. I'd prefer you say, I don't feel respected that way. I don't think you're speaking to me kindly, and I don't appreciate that language right now. That goes a longer way than calling them a monkey, a black monkey with very big testicles just because they called you a name or said something that was unbecoming to you. All right? I'd prefer if you worded that more kindly or more respectfully. That's not an insult. You're just saying, I'm not happy with the way you are addressing me right now. Yeah? I'd prefer that you worded it kindly. Joachim. All right? Instead of fanning it with retaliatory attacks. Most of us are given to doing that. Somebody says something, you're like, let me tell you. Hey, let me tell you. And then now you go off. And then now all of you are low. Nobody's going to go high. As Mrs. Obama said, when they go low, we could go higher. You have that power. This is very important. Talk about the differences in your upbringing, name calling and insult, etc. Sometimes maybe his idea of the way he talks to you is just how he grew up. They used to call each other monkeys. I lived with a family in the States, and this husband used to call the wife and the wife likewise monkey. And I was shocked the first time I heard it until I got used to it. She'd be in the kitchen and say, monkey, the food is ready. And then he'd say, I'm coming, monkey. And it's like, monkey? Wow. So if their children grow up and get married, it would not be far fetched for their son to call his future wife monkey. So then, what gives? Talk about ways you feel respected. If you're unhappy, you could bring it up and say, I don't like being called monkey. Yeah. So in his eyes or her eyes, he would be saying something that he feels is completely acceptable because that is how they grew up. So talk about the differences in which you grew up. Say, when we're arguing and you raise your voice, it scares me. I feel like you're about to punch the wall because I saw my dad do that. So can you please put your voice down when you're talking? Because every time I want to shit my pants, I'm super scared. I feel like the next thing coming is a fist. I'm like, no, that is how we argue. We are passionate. All right? And then finally, get help. There are times when there's nothing you can do about their behavior. And that's where therapists and counselors come in. If you can go see a counselor or a therapist, and hopefully they're kind enough to go with you, they can tell them in a way that you would never tell them. Or they can explain the effects of their words to them in a way that they sit quietly and maybe think about their thoughts and rethink their stance about the ways they treat you. How do you deal with a disrespectful spouse? Let me know and see you tomorrow at 9 p.m. Good night.